And I never planned on appealing any kind of punishment. So whether it was 2 games, 4 games, 6 games, 8 games, I was going to own my actions and be a man about it.
That was former Baltimore Ravens running back Ray Rice. He was addressing the media after his 2-game suspension in July by the NFL for domestic violence.
Yeah, and now, of course, he is waiting to learn whether he's going to be able to play again. He testified at an appeal hearing just this week after Commissioner Roger Goodell suspended him indefinitely over graphic video that surfaced of Rice punching his then-fiancée while they were both in an elevator. Rice says he was forthcoming to Goodell all along.
So let's bring in sports business analyst Rick Horrow. And Rick, if Rice was forthcoming about hitting his fiancée, do you think that the original 2-game suspension should stand?
It's a lot more complicated than that. I wish as a lawyer I can give you a 2-word answer, but we never do that. So the bottom line of all of this is it has wrapped up in a larger process, let's remember. There is a report that Roger Goodell authorized, we're still waiting for, by former FBI Director Mueller, who discusses when this tape came into the NFL in April, who had it, who got it, who sent it to Roger, did he get it, did he not get it? And a lot of that is the linchpin of the argument that this is separate action meriting separate punishment, and the lawyers are getting involved in it. I have a more global view. This is really important. Wrap this into the larger process. It needs to be consistent, transparent, and proactive. And remember, Roger Goodell's press conference got the text right here. He said, we'll implement a new conduct policy. We say that everybody deserves a fair process. We'll have one by Super Bowl. So I know you asked about Ray Rice. I'm deflecting it by saying, let's see what the larger domestic abuse and on and off-field policy is and reserve judgment on that entire issue, both factually and policy-wise.
Okay, so you know that, Goodell, a lot of people are saying he should be held accountable for this. This is about Goodell as much as it is about anything else because he penalized him twice, as you had just talked to about that, making an example of the NFL's poor policy, some say. Shouldn't he have known from the initial video how bad the domestic violence case was, or is this a case of possibly Goodell saying, well, I didn't really see it?
Well, it's an absolute case of him saying, I didn't really see it. That's why the Mueller report is so important. But he did say in the press conference, I did wrong, the buck starts with me. So this is not about contrition right now. It's about what the policy is going forward. Listen, the NFL, $8 billion a year in TV revenue, 24 of the top 25 primetime shows are NFL games. Everybody's watching it again. 45% of the jersey sales are women purchased, and the average NFL value is about $1.4 billion per franchise, up 23%. My point is only this. The NFL is a juggernaut, expecting $25 billion a year in revenue in a few years, got labor peace. Roger Goodell says, give me time to implement this domestic abuse policy, but I will have it by the Super Bowl. And so this is not an issue about one particular player, as visible as that player is.
Let me ask you this, turning to the Adrian Peterson case and his plea deal over his whipping of his son, which he's admitted to. As the NFL reviews his case, what do you think the discipline should be there? I mean, should he be allowed to play the remainder of the season?
Well, as you know, guys, that is an incredibly complex issue for a number of reasons. It involves discipline of children. It's a cross-cultural issue. The plea deal changed the dynamic because he originally said, I'm going to challenge all this, even if it takes the entire season and sit out. He's been the face of a very popular franchise. It is extremely divisive in Minneapolis. The Wilfs are great owners. A Super Bowl's coming in Minnesota in 2 years, and they're negotiating naming rights for a new stadium, which means all of the sponsors are on watch on this. So I'm not answering that question only because it's incredibly complex, and it needs, again, to be wrapped into this more comprehensive off-field policy. This is not about punching your wife or not, or fiance in the elevator. This is about how you raise children, and it is, again, extremely divisive, but it is in this overall umbrella of off-field behavior.
All right. Thank you very much, Rick. We appreciate, as always, your insights.
Thanks for being here, Rick.
Thank you.
See you soon.
So